Welcome back to the shop. Okay, today we are working on my wife's uncle's pickup truck. He's got a 2003 Silverado 4x4. It's 1500 with a 5.3. He has a little reoccurring code coming back for his knock sensors, low frequency. So what we're going to do is pop this intake off. We're going to take the covers off, take the intake off. Of course, we got to take the air cleaner lid and piping off. Get that intake off because the knock sensors are down below. He's picked up from the dealer. We've got two new knock sensors, which will torque, and we've got the wiring harness as well for those knock sensors with the new boots. Seems to be, he said he washed the motor one time, and that's when he started realizing that it was getting codes, or the code started coming. Maybe due to some water getting in there. It went away for a little while, and then he had a belt break because of a tensioner came apart while he was out of town, and it knocked a heater hose off and sprayed everything with coolant, and it did it again. So he's like, I just want to go ahead and fix it. So we're gonna go ahead and fix it. All right, we're gonna get set up, get going. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, please do that. It's down there in the corner. You can tap on the screen or just hit the subscribe button the good old-fashioned way. It's free, and you can also give me a thumbs up. Check out my other videos. We've got I don't know, about 150 videos or so roughly. A lot of them are automotive related, some hot rod content, some barbecue content, auto repair content, and some other miscellaneous stuff. Check them out. Appreciate it. All right, on we go. All right, first thing I'm going to do is pop this vortex cover off. 8mm. Gets a lot exposed. Can't see crap without him there. We got to take this air intake out of the way. Extension on this. Come on there. Come on, man. Stuck. There we go. This one's one to pull the bolt out of this clamp, but not move the clamp. There we go. Pain in the butt. Yes. Come on out there. Alright, that out of there. Now we can see the intake. Alright. We gotta get in here, and looks like we're gonna have to unplug the injectors. Leaf. A swag of my Dr. Pepper. Alright. You got all this harness definitely gonna be in our way here. So we gotta figure out how to unplug all this stuff. We gotta lift this intake up because our knock sensors are down below it. Got two fuel lines we gotta take off. Gotta unplug the throttle body. I guess what I'm gonna do, take this tin off, these three tins off, and see if I can't get this harness either out of the way or unplugged. I don't know if it unplugs anything under there or not. We're gonna find out here in just a second. Come off the wrench. Ratchet wrench is not cooperating. Ratchet. Gear wrenches. Come on, man. Well, leave this thing, see if I can't get it to work. Sorry, I hit the wrong button on the camera, so it wasn't recording. Freed up my gear wrench, got that off. Started unplugging my sensors, got this one unplugged. Got the alternator unplugged. Got this purge valve unplugged. That was the wire to that. Got all these injectors unplugged. Got the throttle body unplugged right there. Because all that's connected to this harness here. Now there is a wire going down in the back. I believe it's going to the crank sensor. I don't know if I'm going to unplug that or just try to hold this harness up out of the way where I can snake this intake out. I may just do that. We'll see when I get to there, get down that road. I've got to undo these fuel lines. So you got to take your safety off. They just pop up in the back and then slide out the front. And I drop that one down in the hole. So get that back up. I'll get my tool out. There's a special tool that slides over and pushes in to unlock these fuel lines. I need to release pressure from that Schrader valve, so I'll take this cap off the Schrader valve to release fuel pressure, so it doesn't spray all over the place when I pop those lines off. So it's just like a tire stem, you know, Schrader valve, so you can literally just push that and it'll squirt out, release gas. So I will take a small screwdriver and just depress that valve, release the pressure, and give me some rags down there to catch my gas. All right, so we got some rags. Well, it shouldn't be a lot that comes out, but you also want to wear safety glasses when you do this. And I just kind of give it a little pop at a time. You don't want to rush it all out at one time, you know. So just there, pressure's released. Okay, so I'm going to take my fuel quick release tool, whatever you call it, and just slide it over the fuel rail, push it in, I wiggle them, I pull the line towards me, and then I release like that. Alright, a little bit of gas came out, not much. It's still dripping out a little bit. Go to the next one below it. One of them's a return line. That one's a little smaller, maybe get a smaller tool. Nope. 3/8 did both of them. A little gas on me. That's okay. Let that drip out a minute. I went ahead and unplugged all those injectors down that road. I believe I've got everything plugged. Well, there's some hoses that go up under this throttle body. Some coolant hoses that go up under the throttle body and they have to take off. Maybe just as easy, just instead of taking these lines off, just to pull these 3 tins off the throttle body and let it come off the front. I don't know though, because I'm going to try to hold this up and slide it intake forward and out. This is trying to do it where I'm not losing coolant here. So I'm going to attempt that. I'm going to take the throttle body loose, pop it off, and see if it'll just sit down in this hole in front of the shroud here. Okay, nuts are off the throttle body. It's not going to come off because of this line though. May not have been a good deal. That may not have been the right thing to do. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to have to lose a little coolant. Just reach down and unhook this one line that comes on the outside of the throttle body down to the, where does it go? It goes to the steam line, front of the head. Let's see if I can do that, and then I'll be able to stand the throttle body up over here and just get it out of the way. Got a vacuum line right here I've got to take off too that goes down to the valve cover, it looks like. Okay, so I've slid the throttle body off the front. I took the clamp up and slid the hose up the pipe just a little bit. I haven't lost any coolant yet, but it allowed me enough room just to kind of move the throttle body. Basically, right in front of the fan, right next to the alternator here. So I'm going to take the bolts. I got to take this line off. I'm going to take the perimeter bolts out of the intake, and we'll see if we can't get this thing out of here. Alright, we got all the bolts out of the intake. It's loose. I had to take the vacuum line off goes from the intake over to this brake booster setup. Let's see if I can lift it out of here. Alright, the line came the rest of the way off that throttle body. I did not lose any coolant. That's the harness. I just unclipped. I think that's the harness for the knock sensors that we're going after here. This line, I'm going to have to pop it off. I popped the purge valve out because the line goes under the rail right there. But I think it's going to be easier if I just take the valve off right there real quick. There. Purge valve back in there. Remember to tighten that. Alright. It'll be easier to pouring out the rail. Alright. intakes out. Those gaskets are pretty flat. Oh, it is a gasket, a total gasket on this. I thought it had just O-rings straight into the intake. Shows you how many of these I've done. Cathedral ported at 5.3. Get all these leaves and stuff out of here. Here's our knock sensors. There's the socket I dropped, 8mm. Yeah, we got some cleaning to do. We're gonna clean some of this up and get some gaskets, these knock sensors out, and get going. All right, we're gonna vacuum out some of this debris that's under here. Alright, stuff some shop rags down in the ports. If you do this, don't forget to take them out. I've seen people do that where they leave them in. Alright, we're clean up the surface a little bit here. I can get a good can of brake right here. Gonna loosen this stuff up and I'll give her a little wipe down. Just want to make sure the intake seal's back good. So we're gonna clean up this little bit of oil and dirt from over the years. And I'm not gonna film every port because it's boring. Okay, we've got the ports where the gasket seal cleaned up, and now I'm gonna attempt to switch out these knock sensors. Pop these plugs up, and thing's hard as brick. Ooh. When I unplugged that, top of that knock sensor just kind of crumbled. The little edge of that thing crumbled off. There. Okay, they're just falling apart. They're ready to be changed. All right, I'm gonna get these things out of here. You can see there's moisture up under the cap of these things. That could have been part of the problem. Moisture's getting down in there, and they're just getting old and brittle. So we're changing this harness, which is just this little piece here, and both sensors. All right, so we'll take our 7/8 socket, crack that baby loose. Shrapnel in that hole that won't get on there. we go. There's your old knock sensors. And we'll clean those holes out. Okay, so we're going to install the knock sensors. In my case, it calls for 15 foot-pounds. So we're going to screw them in, and I got the torque wrench set for 15 already, and we will torque those down, put the new connectors on, and start reassembling. I cleaned up the intake, and got the new gaskets installed, so that's ready to go on. And we're going to keep trucking here. One thing I did notice is one of them's got a black top, one of them's got a white top. The one with the black top says it was assembled in Mexico. They both have the same part number and look identical, other than the black connector. So I don't know. Screw them down till they stop. Let's see, turn the light on. That's it. Doesn't take much. That's it. That's what's 15 foot-pounds according to my torque wrench. Okay, so we got our GM harness. It says was assembled in Serbia. I don't even know where Serbia is. Never even heard of it. Okay. Push your connector on until it clicks. Push your grommet down. Put the camera angles where y'all can see that. Now that one's got a good seal. The other ones had gotten really hard. The rubber grommets here. And I believe we're leaking water in there. That's it. Go ahead and route our intake back in. I do like the way the gaskets attached to the intake, they hold themselves on, which is pretty nice. Just gotta fight with all these hoses and wires, mainly wires. Make sure you're not catching any up under the intake. Go through there. I was hoping I'd be able to route it on the outside. It's not flexible enough. Damn it, so I'm going to pull this back out. Enough. Get this purge line under this rail. Knock sensor harness. There's the brakes. This is PCV to the valve cover. Just go under that. Fuel lines. Make sure we got all our wires here. Here's our knock sensor. It's onto the top of the intake right there. Bam. There's your knock sensor. Make sure we got all our injectors. Here's our alternator. There's the purge valve. We gotta tighten the purge valve back down. Clips to that. Injector wires. Wires here. Okay. I believe everything's routed, laying close to where it should be. So what we'll do now, make sure our intake's in the right spot, which it's not. It is now. See if we can't get us a couple bolts, intake bolts started by hand here in the front. Back ones. A couple of these I'm going to have to get with an extension. Alright, while I'll button all that up, everything pretty much just lays out, you know, where it should. So you can get stuff in the wrong spot, I suppose, but the harness pretty much lays where it should, you know, where everything should plug up. So it's not too terribly difficult. This is definitely a job you can do at home. It's a lot of bending over. Not too many specialty tools or anything, except for the torque wrench, I guess. If you don't have one of those, you should get one, a good one. Alright, we're going to get it all buttoned up. Alright, now we got all the intake bolts started. Ran them down by hand, and then the torque specs for mine, you got to look it up for yours specifically, because they could all be different. It's 44 inch-pounds on the first pass with a crisscross pattern inside to out, and then 89 inch-pounds on the final pass, same crisscross pattern. Four. You just crisscross your way out. I'm not going to film it all because I'm going to drop the socket 100 times. Alright. All torqued down, so now we're going to concentrate on getting everything hooked back up. Go ahead and get the fuel lines hooked back up. Give them a good snug back and forth, make sure they're on good. Trust me, you don't want one of those popping off. Put your safety clips back on. Plugging the injectors back up. Give them a little pull. Make sure they're going to stay on there for you. All the injectors on this side are in, knock sensors plugged up, fuel lines are on. Got to put this PCV back in the hole. Got to route this back over. Brake booster. And let's see here. I hate these clips. I've got tools for these, but the real thin ones are a pain in the butt. So Rose use needle nose. Alright. That's good. Do that, so we'll put that back in, take it in, put it back down. We've already done our map sensor up there on the top. Alternator's plugged back in. I got to tighten up this purge valve. It's an 8mm. Okay, sorry the battery died. We got it buttoned up, and now I'm going to change the fluid of the transmission on this thing as I watch the last day of Hot Rod Drag Week. And look at that Volvo. It's like a 7-second Volvo wagon. Anyway, sorry the battery died, and but I was about done anyway. We torqued the intake. Of course, we torqued the knock sensors, got the new harness put on it. Fired right up, it's running just fine. I cleared the codes before I started. I will test drive it after, but we're going to Florida tomorrow morning in it, so I'm going to change the fluid and the filter in the transmission, and then go put a few miles on it, and that'll wrap this one up. If you haven't done so, please hit the subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, check out some other videos, come back and see me again. Thanks. Peace.